Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself to begin?
My name's Arianna Gilligan. I live in Springfield, Missouri, where I'm a freelance illustrator. I've been doing so for the past 5, 6 years. And I live here with my husband, who is a videographer and cinematographer. And we work together a lot to animate and do projects like this.
What drew you to this project?
As a freelancer, I do get to work with all types of different people who have different narratives or different causes. And I'm always seeking out things that I already align with or a cause that I can support. My husband works for a nonprofit that specializes in children's feeding. And so the more we learned about Food First and the more we heard about the project, it just seemed like a very natural fit for us.
And how did you collaborate with Food First to bring our shared vision to life?
They provided all of the interviews with their partners. We really immersed ourselves in listening to those. They did a great job of writing out outlines, doing the translations for people that were in different regions. Many hours of listening and researching the different areas that everyone was from. And then we had bi-weekly meetings where we kind of brainstormed, did mood boards, and made a plan.
You've touched on this a little bit just now, but could you walk us through the creative process of designing a page?
The pre-production was the most intensive part. We ultimately ended up dividing the graphic novel into the 4 regions. I tried to familiarize myself with each location. It was just an easier way to break up, a 50-page book.
Yeah.
That was really helpful. Starting in Africa, we were learning about all of the floral and fauna in that region. I could really put together a look for how that was going to be. And then once I read the script, I would pull out some like keywords, whether it was words that were already pretty visual or a more abstract stanza that needed support visually. And I would come up with 2 to 3 sketches. With the Food First team, we kind of figured out what was best. Their input was super helpful in the final product. And then from there, did a colored version.
I've gotten a sneak peek of the graphic novel, and I know that there are some really, really beautiful landscapes in the illustrations. Were those based off of real places?
Each interviewer provided some images of their work, stuff from their website that I definitely pulled in. I think there was one story in Africa that was a garden of hope. It's that actual garden, the
Oh,
pictures they sent
nice.
over. And then in Detroit, there's a Detroit People's Food Co-op. They sent over pictures of their building, and I do that. So some of it is just inspired by the regions, whether it was the coffee farm in the Philippines or something like that. But for the more specific ones, we used pictures that the partners provided.
That'll be fun for people to look out for.
Yeah.
Were there any pages that were challenging for you to draw or that changed a lot between initial sketch and final product?
I think every page provided kind of its own challenge.
Yeah.
But I would say in pre-production, when it was still just sketches, there was more of an editorial feel to the whole thing, like where it was just black and white text, picture, black and white text. And ultimately, something was feeling off about it when we were reviewing it. And we decided to go with more of where the images flow from spread to spread. The text isn't just in boxes. We're telling 40 people's individual story and wanted it to feel like one overarching thing and not just
Right.
a bunch of different essays. And I love how it turned out.
And when trying to make it into a cohesive thing like this, did you experiment with any new techniques or changes in your art style?
I stayed pretty true to my art style as a whole, but my art style skews a little bit more dark. So this project definitely helped me to add in a lot more bold colors when we're dealing with different countries and still trying to make it all make sense in one book.
And I remember there were conversations as well about skin tones and lighting and how to depict those things. And I think you really ended up doing that justice. It looks really good. If you had to describe the visual tone of the graphic novel in just 3 words, what would they be and why?
Okay. The first word would be warm. We're hearing about people who have dedicated their education, activists who are super passionate about food justice and food sovereignty. And that just comes with very warm and communal care for the land and world around you. Every interviewer that we listened to carried that with them. And I wanted to make sure that that was represented in the book. The second word I would say is grounded. We're dealing with pretty heavy topics in some of it. And I didn't want it to be too heavy or too utopianized either. I just wanted it to
Right.
be authentic stories and be as true to it as possible. And in that same vein, my last word would be balanced. From beginning to finish, we really were trying to strike a balance between the realities that these farmers, professors, and communities are facing, while also trying to paint a picture of what the greater future could be like. We wanted to really make sure that it was just true to what they were saying and that it would ultimately inspire people.
Which page was your favorite to create and why is it special to you?
My favorite spread was one in the beginning. It has all 4 regions and different methods of farming. And I created this more as a thesis to pitch to group first on the look and overall vibe for the rest of the book. And they really loved it. And I loved it too. So we wanted to make sure we put it in some way. We put it right in the beginning so it could paint the picture for you for what you were going to see in the rest of the novel. But thought that maybe it needed some text. And Clayton and I were listening to one of the interviews, and they quoted that proverb, "We do not inherit the world from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children." And I was like, it's bringing in family. It was like exactly what we needed. And I love how it came together.
I love that spread as well. It's
Yeah.
really impactful. And are there any Easter eggs that readers should look out for?
I can't think of any Easter eggs off the top of my head, but I will say in that original thesis piece that I was talking about, those all come up again in the rest of the book. We have the rice farm in the background. You'll notice some paddy farming.
Okay, that's cool. No, I like it because it fits in with what you were saying about cohesivity and it all being one story together.
Yeah.
So I think readers will enjoy that. And if people are interested in pursuing illustration as a form of communication, do you have any advice for them?
Seek out projects that are authentic to you. And if you don't already have projects that align with your personality or your vision for your life, make personal work that reflects it. And when you put it out into the world, people will find it. And people that want to hire you, people that need your skill to communicate their cause will be more likely to reach out.
I think it's also very visible in your spread. I think the illustrations are 100% this thread that ties all of these things together. So thank you so much for your work in helping us do these stories justice.
Thank you so much,
Really
Andy.
appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time to do this interview.
Of course. Yeah, thanks. It was great.